Hi guys, welcome back.
What's up?
So we started this conversation in the car
Mm-hmm.
and the reception was so bad. I think it was lagging. I ended up just deleting that video, but the topic was marriage talk,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked about the beginning. Someone's knocking at our door.
I'll go get it. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so awkward. There's gonna be
Good.
somebody bringing in the food. So anyways, so yeah, we started off the conversation about marriage talk, and I asked Benji, what were your thoughts when you proposed to me? And then he opened up about what really happened, kind of like the truth behind the proposal. And he actually proposed twice. The first time it was because we were going through a rough patch, and he basically did it to kind of like as a last desperate move. So yeah, I didn't even think that you would bring that up, because honestly I kind of blanked that
happened.
moment of time in our lives, because I was so unhappy.
Just checking the internet speed.
So anyways, I guess you could talk about that, because I don't know how well. I think the video was so choppy.
Well, you guys, I'm gonna be watching the comments, so you guys ask your questions, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. But anyways, so what Judy is talking about is everyone sees the marriage proposal that you see on YouTube, which is me singing to Judy for the first time in public out of a garage. I started like a garage band for one day. So thank you to all the participants, members of the one-time performance.
Louise,
Dustin,
that was really cool.
Yeah, Randy. So it was fun. However, that wasn't the first proposal in our life, and that's why Judy's all like nervous talking about it. I'm not nervous. I call it real life. We were talking about this in the car, and a lot of people use the hashtag relationship goals, which I'm honored that you guys would say that about a relationship. But
you guys have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, like
understand.
we have the similar challenges, just like anybody else. Of course, you can put whatever you want on social media, but we like to be super honest, super transparent, especially when it comes to our marriage, because if you guys do truly look up to our dynamic, then you should know both sides, everything, as much as you can about our relationship. So the first time I asked Judy, it was more out of a little bit of desperation, because I felt like we were growing apart. Literally, we were like on our way to kind of split up, and I did that. I always knew that I was going to marry Judy since we started dating. It was just a matter of when. I don't know about you. How'd you feel?
I didn't think I would marry you right away.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't that I didn't want to marry you. It's just that marriage wasn't on my mind. So when he did propose the first time, I just knew it was because it was out of desperation. He wasn't trying to, it wasn't thought out. He didn't have a ring. No, I remember I was laying in bed. I was sleeping, and you came up to me. It was probably like 1 a.m, and you're like, Judy, I have a question or something, and I'm like, what is it? He's like, will you marry me? And I'm like, what the? And
she said yes.
I said yes.
Yes, you did.
And then later, I think in the morning, I was like, you know what? I don't think it's...
Well, it wasn't that quick, but yeah, eventually we just realized it was not the right thing.
It was weird. So anyways, I said no, and then we still stayed together. Gosh, I don't even know where this is going. So anyways, it wasn't an honest, I don't think it was like a true proposal. So I said no. Eventually.
It was a real proposal. It was just like a really crappy one for a bad reason. And then that's what we were talking about in the car, that it's always good to wait. I think it's better to wait than to have gut reactions to circumstances. And that's what we were kind of talking about. So that's a story that we never shared. I don't think we've ever talked about it.
I don't think we ever talked about it because it was like irrelevant.
Yeah. So you guys, let us know what your questions are. Is that enough, honey? Do we have to talk about that?
No, I think we covered that. But anyways, so when the second proposal came, I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
But I knew I for sure loved you. And that was that.
Yeah, and then if you guys want to see the actual proposal, the one where I manned up and did it in a good way, you can see it on Itsjudytime, her beauty channel. We put all of that on there.
Yeah. Oh, hi at the Jazz. She said, I remember the first proposal story. Yeah, I think I like told my cousins and that. I don't even think my parents knew about the first proposal because that was, that'd be weird to tell your parents.
So I got a question from Gina. Is there something that you guys disagreed with, and how did you guys deal with it?
Yeah, I think that's why our relationship was going downhill before you proposed the first time. Just like our way of thinking, and I didn't agree with like some of the things that you did. Not that he made bad choices, just the way you would execute things. I felt like it wasn't polite. Does that make sense? You know, and Benji, it took a while for me to realize that it wasn't me, it was him. Like Benji's just different than what I was used to with my previous boyfriend. So I was offended a lot, like by a lot of things he said and things he would do. And it was just because the way he processes things is just different, I guess.
I am different. I think the question might have been, but I don't know if it was for sure, about do we have any disagreements now? Like, have we had since we got married? And how do we deal with it?
Okay, well, what's your answer to that?
Well, definitely we have things. That's the one thing. Like, there's no perfect, like, we agree on everything the exact same way. We definitely disagree on things. Like, for example, if I had it my way, I would want to feed our kids a certain type of food from certain sources, but we don't always do that. And guess what I do? I just go along with it, because at the end of the day, there's so many more things than just like the actual food itself or where it comes from that makes for healthy kids.
Yeah.
So I don't put too much weight on it. I personally, buy food that I want to feed our kids and cook it in a way that I want them to eat it. But Judy has her own way of feeding her kids, so that's one thing. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, I feel like if you're not gonna cook it, then don't complain. So, and that's why, like, lately, Benji's so busy. He's always working. Benji's, like, always busy, always on emails and phone calls, which is understandable. You run the business. So I'm with the kids and I'm preparing the meals. And usually I'm not Chef Judy. So I go with the flow with what we got in the kitchen and the fridge, what I buy at Costco, and but it's delicious. You really like that new spaghetti that I started.
Yeah, I do.
Making. So there was another question that I saw, and they asked, how do you guys deal with your finances? And I feel like okay, well, let's just say this is like our opinion on things between our marriage. We're not trying to say this is the right way, because we're not experts. We've only been married for 6 years. But finances, let's talk about that.
Finances? Well, I take care of all the finances.
He does.
Basically.
Yep, the bills and that. And we have joint accounts, if that's what you're asking. I have a friend that is married, and her husband has separate accounts, and that's what works for them. So whatever works for your own situation, that's it. I trust Benji with money. Do you trust me with money?
Yeah, of course.
I feel like
I've never had any doubts about how Judy spends her money. Of course, like sometimes she sneaks off to Ross and wants to spend on all kinds of stuff that she knows that maybe she's not gonna wear, but I don't question it because, at the end of the day, I feel like both Judy and I are very reasonable with what we buy, and we don't go and buy like the most expensive things. But if we were gonna buy something that was expensive, it's gonna be once in a while, and it's gonna be for most purposes very practical for our life.
Yeah, I think the last...
Judy doesn't buy jewelry.
I don't. I think the last big purchase that we spent was like our minivan. And that's something that obviously like we have to agree
very
together
practical.
And consult. The Toyota, what is it called? The Sienna.
Yeah.
That was like our biggest purchase. And then of course like trips, our travel trips. We feel like is a good investment, even if it is a little expensive.
Well, yeah, number one, most of our trips revolve around family.
I was about to say it's priceless, but no, it is priceful. But but the experiences that we have are priceless, to say the least. And
I'd say almost all of our trips revolve around family. In fact, one of the reasons we haven't traveled to places other than where we go so regularly, like Japan and Philippines, is because we want to see family first, especially some of the older relatives or the ones that we don't see very often. And secondly, if we travel, it's for work, and a lot of times if we're working with a branded company, they'll pay for it, so that's nice. And then the third, you just saw when we were in Africa, for charity. So if it's for family, for business, or charity, that usually is what is prioritized. I can't even... the only time we've ever traveled in recent memory, just for us, it had nothing to do with family or work or charity, was Napa Valley, the beginning of last year. So what were we talking... Oh, like in terms of spending money. So again, very practical.
I think communication is still key when it comes to
for sure.
spending money in a marriage, because that could cause disagreements.
Let me look for questions here.
But big spendings, you know? Okay, there was another question I read, and it was, have you guys ever dealt with jealousy?
I definitely felt jealous when we were dating, but right now I have no jealousy at all. So that's how I feel. You felt jealous of me?
I don't think I was ever jealous at all, but the reason why was
I married up, so she had no reason to be jealous of me. But of course,
honey. Whatever.
She's hot, beautiful.
You're so sweet. But the reason why I wasn't jealous was because he never gave me a reason to be jealous. Oh, trust me, I've had ex-boyfriends where I would be insecure, and I think that's where jealousy starts from. It's from insecurities. And so I was very insecure with my ex, because he just gave me like little things where you just don't trust your significant others. Just little things like communication was not there. I think our communication was pretty good, and you never hung out with girls purposefully, or when he did, he would like tell me. Oh, one thing I really appreciate about Benji as well is that he never puts himself in a situation where he would think in the slightest bit I would be jealous. So
I go above and beyond.
For instance, Benji will go out of his way to make sure he's not alone in a car with another woman. Like, I know it sounds like weird,
unless
right?
they're family. If they're family, then it's obviously okay.
But and this is not like I ask him. It's not like I tell him like I don't feel comfortable when you're around other women. Don't talk to anybody, you know. But that's just his own choice, and I'm just so appreciative of that. And I think because of that, I don't ever doubt.
I can't take credit though. It was a mentor of mine who has actually coached us on our marriage, has given us a lot of guidance.
Is it Gary?
Yeah, it's Gary. He was the one that told me that unless it's family or like maybe like, you know, extended family, he does not get into situations where he's with another female. It doesn't even matter if there's there would be the temptation, or if he's attracted, he just makes it a standard. So I did that for my life because I really look up to his marriage and his principles. So that's what I did.
Yeah, and I truly believe, whether you're attracted to this person in the beginning or not, when you're with somebody for a certain amount of time, like consistently over years, I feel like you would inevitably develop an attraction. Maybe there's tension in your personal life that, you know, will make you vulnerable into going towards that road. So, yeah.
On that
like
note,
we avoid that. And
how do we keep our marriage spicy?
Friday and day.
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, because obviously the reason that I avoid all temptation is because I want to make sure that I'm fully committed to Judy. But I don't even need to do that, because I feel very satisfied with our marriage. I am very happy because our marriage is spicy. Very spicy.
Okay.
Well, hey, this is all about being honest, you guys.
Hi, Rose. Rose in Hawaii. Aloha.
Does that make you nervous, talking about how spicy our marriage is?
It's just kind of like, okay, I'm thinking of other Jazz who's watching right now. She's like my sister, and gosh.
Well, so
God,
I will
Mom,
tell you this. I will tell you this.
If you're watching.
I actually think it's healthy, and I think it's good. It was good for me to have mentors who shared about their spicy relationships, because if you don't hear it from someone else, then how are you supposed to learn, right? Like,
I guess true. Like, it shouldn't be taboo, especially if you're married.
I think that's what
Where's my wine?
I think that's
my wine.
Oh, it's over there on the little tray.
It's okay. I'm just kidding.
Why don't you grab it? You might as well.
No, but any final questions? The reason why I thought it'd be important and fun to talk about marriage is because
we didn't talk about how do we keep our marriage spicy.
Oh, okay.
So
no, but the reason why we're talking about marriage is because we're going to a friend's wedding in like an hour. So, how to keep our marriage? Okay, so one of the tips that Gary gave us was to always date your wife and husband. Like, go out on dates. He would go on dates with his wife every Monday night.
To Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's, or they go eat at their local Mexican restaurant. And so we strive to do that, because I think after we had the twins, like, you know, having brand new babies, it really throws you for a loop, and you're frustrated, you don't have enough sleep. Like, I hated Benji a lot. And Benji made it a point to, even though I was so mean to him, to like take me out to dinner. Are
you gonna cry?
No?
There you are. I'm not gonna cry. You're gonna cry.
Why are you tearing up?
I'm not tearing. You're the one that...
like, there's like a teardrop about to fall.
Okay, well.
But, you know, I feel like it's so important.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about this.
Yeah, to like always, like the saying is to date your spouse.
Yeah, date often too.
Date often.
Just like when before you were married.
Yeah, to keep it spicy with those chili pepper emojis.
So I will tell you this, that Judy is my number one priority and is the love of my life, and nothing else even comes close to Judy for me personally, right? And I always want to make time, not just for us, but even for me personally, like selfishly, I want to make time. But it's because, you know, even beyond parenting our kids, I'm going to be with you forever. So I want to make sure that we're as happy as we can and fulfilled, and both of our needs are fulfilled. So I think that's part of the reason why we don't just go on date nights anymore. We do date trips.
Yeah.
So, you know, we went to Africa, number one, for December, and to work with an organization called Convoy of Hope. So it was a charity focused trip, but we made the first few days before that time for us, a date trip.
That was so nice.
Yeah, since we're gonna travel all the way to Africa, and of course, super spicy. And I'm not talking about the spices.
Oh gosh.
There you go.
So there you go.
Was there another question? Because I have one more question. A really good one.
I don't. Okay, let's see. There's questions coming in. How do you Makeup Mommy asks, how do you deal with your body issues after having a baby? Oh my god, girl, you want to talk about body issues? I've had body issues, I feel like my whole life. Even when I was like thinner, I thought I was huge, and now I'm like thick, but I'm really happy. Like I seriously feel like I'm happy. I'm starting to become a little more active. I told Benji I'll do a 5K with him.
5K?
Which I feel good when I run, but honestly, like I don't like working out. But I feel like with body issues, it's just something that you have to constantly work on. And I feel like the older I'm getting, the more I'm accepting my body. But it's not easy. And also, what you're exposing yourself to can also make you feel like ish. Like, for instance, if you there's so many beautiful women on social media that I would compare myself to, and when you do that to yourself, that's almost like setting yourself up for failure. Yeah. Because there's there are really beautiful women out there, but who knows if they're blurring out their pimples or they're using those apps that make you skinny. And I think that's what really gets me, is I compare myself to other women.
Yeah.
So
I definitely, I mean, obviously, like, I didn't have to have kids, so I don't have to deal with the same things, but I definitely recommend to people that you should never compare yourself to other people. There's nothing wrong to look up to people, right? Like, if they can inspire you in a positive way. Like, for me, I'm inspired. Even, like, just recently, I've been watching Arnold Schwarzenegger back in his heyday when he was, like, super buff. I know I'm not going to be like that. Like, I'm so realistic. I'm like, even if I wanted to, like, the amount of time it'd take to even come close would not be worth it, because, of course, it'd take away from the family. I have so many other things. But there's nothing wrong with people inspiring you. It's when it starts to eat at your spirit and your confidence. You have low self-esteem because you feel like that's what true beauty is. Or for me, not necessarily beauty, but that's what manhood is. That is unhealthy, and that's not good for you or anybody else around you.
To obsess over it.
And also, I think that after you feel comfortable in your skin, it's just all about trying your best to be healthy. Not necessarily look a certain way, but just be healthy, eating good foods, staying active, and just always having a positive mindset.
Yeah, for sure. And who you surround yourself with also affects you. Like, if you have a very toxic relationships, not just amongst your significant other, but if there's friends that are toxic, like, you don't want to be in that bubble, I feel like. But anyways,
last question, and then we should get ready for our our date night.
We gotta go. Well, we have to.
One more question that someone had, which is great. I think that we can speak on it so well, is how do we deal with having two different cultures in this one marriage? Obviously, you're Filipina. I'm, Japanese American. I mean, you're Filipino American, but you're
American.
Talking completely. I don't want to say completely different, but there's a lot of differences. And how do we deal with it? I'm always excited to hear what Judy says, because we don't talk about some of these things.
I feel like
we just live it.
We just live it. I mean, how? Like, I carry some of my Filipino traits. Like, for instance, like, this may sound weird, but we have, like, every time we go in the toilet, we use a tabo, which is a bucket to wash your butt, you know? And that's something that Benji has never in his life heard about, and he thought it was the weirdest thing, but that's just something that comes naturally, right?
I don't think it's weird anymore. I mean, it's very practical.
Yeah,
but I don't do it myself.
And I feel like we just do what we do with the kids. Obviously, my kids go to Mama and Papa's house, which they're very Filipino.
They are Filipino.
But, like, so Filipino. Like, my mom will watch well, she doesn't have TFC anymore, but when she did have TFC, me and Kira would be like, Mama, you can watch your Tagalog. It was so cute. And then just like they eat lots of Filipino foods at my parents' house, and at your parents' house, the girls eat so much Japanese food. That's really cool. And the girls, anytime they see like Japanese letters, they are familiar with it being Japanese.
Yeah.
And you speak some Japanese words to them.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question about like how we live with it, I think that we personally just see the positive and the good in each other's differences, and we just embrace it for our kids. I mean, that's all there is to it. I don't look at any aspect that's completely different from my culture that's in Judy's culture and look down on it. I just look at what is good about it, and that's it. It's that simple. Like nothing. Like no animosity or hate or anything like that.
And what better way for the kids to experience the cultures than being in those countries. So we've been to Tokyo a few times. The twins. Oh, actually, the kids went to the Philippines for the first time earlier this year, and we're planning to go back again real soon. So. Yeah, okay, we're going to wrap it up because we really got to go.
Give us a thumbs up if you guys like this and you want to see more of this, because I would love to do more of these.
I know, we should do these more often. So thank you guys, and you guys have a great weekend. We're going to hit up our friend's wedding. We're going to dance. It's going to be so awesome. And I'm going to vlog as much as I can, but I have to make sure that it's okay with them that I vlog from the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Toodles. Bye.
Bye.